On this computer. All right, we're ready to go.
Right.
How are you?
Doing pretty well. I'm bringing you this interview today from my room. This is my first interview here, so you get to see a little bit about what I surround myself with.
Yeah, got you. I mean, yeah, there's we got to be flexible with everything going on with COVID. So, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on. Are you in some sort of college dorm right now? What's off campus
You
house?
know, I live at home. I commute to school, so that's like an hour commute, public transportation. So, I don't miss that per se.
Yeah, yeah. So you're on the far south side,
Woman, the bottom of the city.
Pullman. Yeah. And
Uh,
so but all the while you've managed to make it to hundreds, probably, so many events. You're going to,
uh,
multiple a day, and this was a huge summer for you. So talk a little bit about what it's been like, and sort of, I guess, also how you figure out what you're attending, how you map out the plan for a day.
well, first, once again, thank you for having me. I saw the clip you posted from your previous podcast where you mentioned me. And I just
Yeah,
had such a great time listening to it. You were talking about the Dan Ryan horse incident, and I just was laughing the entire time. It
the
was really cool.
dreadhead cowboy. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Because you right, you had the announcement, something big was happening. So,
Yeah, okay, you
we
guys
can talk
better
about
listen.
that later. But
Yeah, so I've been covering protests in Chicago for years. This isn't anything new. Like the March for Our Lives, which happened years ago, I covered that. When Jason Van Dyke got the guilty verdict, that was another thing that I covered. And that was like one of the first times I really started to figure out that this was something that I'm kind of good at, in the sense of figuring out which moments represent situations the best. So over the summer, first protest I covered was May 30th. We had been out, on our COVID lockdown since March. So at that point, I was really bored and tired of being at home. School was finishing up, so I just had a bunch of free time on my hands. And just to take you back to that day on May 30th,
mhm.
the night before, that Friday night, there was a small protest that no one really knew was coming up. And that was like the first incident of vandalism and property damage. So I was up at like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning on May 30th, watching Facebook Live videos, seeing what's going on downtown. And then the big protest was, that afternoon. So I covered that. And just like my previous coverings of Chicago happenings, I just figured it was one and done.
Yeah,
The following week was the Chicago March of Justice for George Floyd, 38,000 people. So that's when I was like, okay, this isn't slowing down as fast. So I kept going out there and kept capturing what was going on, because now, as far as the book, this was never an idea that I started out with. When I started covering this stuff, it was just my usual thing: go out, take photos, do what I do. I'm a photographer. But I knew that these moments are once in a lifetime. Right? Protests will happen again, but that specific protest, that specific moment is literally once in a lifetime. So I wanted to make sure that time and time again I was out there and I was covering it, especially knowing that there were not many people that didn't work for news outlets
yeah.
covering this.
Hmm. So the book focuses on revolutionary joy. That's kind of the center theme that kind of dictates the what images you selected. And of course, 17,000 pictures. I mean, that's so many to sort through. But I wonder if there are a couple that you can think of that you are some of your favorites.
I want to grab the book off my desk and I want to
Of
talk about
course,
it.
of course. Got it pulled up right now in a separate tab.
So one of the things I want to address first is just the entire idea of joyful revolution. The goal here was just to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to put spin on this. I'm not crafting a specific narrative. Every moment that shaped the summer of Chicago is in this book. So you open the book up, and one of the things you're going to see immediately that happened after the first protest was looting. That's in this book. This is right here on page 8. You get to see looting is in this book. Both instances of looting. Photos from when Latrell Allen was shot by CPD. I was at the crime scene. Those photos are in this book. There was a pro-police rally that happened after the Columbus statue protest. Those photos are here. There was the only altercation that I saw between civilians was there. A photo from that is in this book. There was also a Trump rally. So everything that happened is in this book in chronological order. So it wasn't a selection process of what goes with joy. It was, this is exactly what happened. Now, why did I choose joy? More often than not, it was joy. So as I looked through everything and I said, okay, what I see the most is that the protests were built. And I'm very critical of saying built on that, because some of them may have doved off and I guess turned into an unpeaceful protest. But it's like the organizers, the people that came out, they came out and they started with peace. Now you can argue on who instigated and who agitated, but my job here is not to put spin on this. This is to give you the facts. All of the photos have captions. The caption tells you the date, the neighborhood, the name of the protest, the name of who's in the photo, if I know that, and exactly what's happening. No other opinions are in this book.
Yeah, and you like you said, it's a well, it is in chronological order, and and it does seem like a very honest account, and something that sometimes is going to get lost is a lot of reporters who are just coming in from national outlets or anything like that, like a big company, are going to come in with an idea of what they want the story to be, and it seems like you let it unfold in front of you and went from there.
Yeah, and you asked about favorites as well. So I guess I'll say my favorite is the cover photo. So when you look at this, you see everything that embodied the summer. One of the biggest things is this was led by the youth. So you see here, these are all young people. Destiny Harris here, she's 19 years old, but in this book, she's pretty much the elder. This young lady is younger than her, so she's the young people in the book. Another thing that I'm pointing out is the fact that we're not in the loop. We're not downtown. We're in the neighborhoods, going to the places where it matters, handling it there. And also, there are so many different backgrounds, races, and ethnicities in this one frame, just showing that collective that happened here and people coming together for this common cause and having a dance party. This isn't, looting. This isn't rioting. I called it a modern day sit-in. They're sitting here, they're taking up space, they're dancing, they're having a good time. They're not even in the street. That is what I felt represented the spirit of these protests as a whole.
And it definitely seems like you were able to make some of the ones that were not happening in places like the Loop, in neighborhoods that outlets aren't necessarily going to, and it's amazing. You made it to 2 or 3 a day. So scheduling wise, what did you prioritize? What did you try to get to? How did you find out? Are you in touch with organizers? What was that like?
So the vast majority of what I covered this summer was things that I was not directly invited to. Mm-hmm. Everything that I covered for the most part was social media postings, looking through the Chicago protest hashtags. Over the summer, there were different accounts that came and went that would post protest information, so I would follow those accounts. And then from there, I just tried to look at what is it that people may be going to, what are the issues that are most pressing at the time. So for example, when the incident happened at the Columbus statue, I wasn't there for that specific night, but I knew any resulting protest that happened about the Columbus statue, that's what's most important to cover right now. There are other things, like for example, there's a Trump-Pence rally that happens every single day in Chicago. Still happening every single day. Federal Plaza, Trump-Pence out now rally. So that's not a priority over something else that's going to come and go. So I tried to, take advantage of that. A lot of Ubers this summer. They love me a lot. So I would have, my schedule here, 30 minutes, an hour, bounce over here, bounce over there. One of no, actually, the very last protest in this book are for Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
So here, these are 3 different marches, and all 3 of these happened the same night. So I actually went to 4 this night. So I went to the first one, caught a ride with another photographer to the second one, caught another ride to the third one, took an Uber to the 4th one. And I'm just, getting there, trying to get those shots. As soon as it's over with, I'm running out to the next
That's crazy.
one.
Yeah, it's really a grind. I hope your rating is good with the with all the
Right.
Uber stuff. So when you're out here taking pictures, something that's definitely come up in some of the protest spaces I've been in is worries about faces being recognized, and then law enforcement kind of taking advantage of that and trying to incriminate people in certain ways. So I'm wondering what efforts you take specifically to protect the people that you're photographing.
The number one reason that I go to any protest is to amplify the voices of those that are there. Mm-hmm. Anytime I'm in any situation where folks tell me that what I'm doing is making them unsafe, whatever action they recommend, I take it. Give you an example. I think this was the 15th of August, maybe. This was the day that all of the incidents happened that actually made the back cover of the book, whether they raised the bridges this day, the allegations of kettling, the pepper spray.
Yes. Is that was that the day that Mohawk the skateboard incident? Yeah, okay.
That was that day. So me doing exactly what I do on any regular basis, taking photos, taking videos. Now, when I film videos, I don't often look at the videos before I post them because the idea is I'm just showing exactly what's going on. But in this specific situation, I was told, hey, you should remove this video because it could be putting us in danger. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that DM because at the time, when I'm out here posting stuff from big protests, my phone is just going nuts. So I don't always see what's going on in real time. But someone else came to me with that same sentiment. My response, not only did I stop taking video, I deleted everything that I had posted. Because at the end of the day, I care more about amplifying voices but not putting people in harm's way, as opposed to whatever likes and retweets. Now, there has been a time where I have blurred out and blocked people's faces. That was the first day of looting. I was out there, I was taking photos, and I have physical photos of people looting. That's an illegal act. So that was something where I cover their faces because they didn't actually be photographed. They didn't actually post. I didn't have their permission. So I had to block that out. Other than that, people in the photos are not doing illegal acts. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I'm not sure people know about is the Chicago Police Department has a media news affairs team. They come out to the protest and they have actual police officers with camcorders filming everyone. Doesn't matter if I'm there or not, you're on camera. They have pod cameras. Police officers have, some of them have body cams. So it's like you're going to be surveilled, and it doesn't matter exactly who's doing it because the police department has that covered. But, the general rule of thumb is if nothing illegal happening, it's fine. I could get technical with it as far as you're on public property, so I have permissions. All of that get a little tricky, but another thing is I've had many moments where people have found themselves in my photos, mm-hmm. and they hit me up and say, hey, thank you for capturing this, and I'll send them everything they have. There was one photo in particular from that same day. Young lady is getting her eyes flushed out by street medics. She got pepper sprayed. Yeah. And it was a very graphic photo. It's on my Instagram account from that day. Like her eye was like, they had her eyelid like inside out, flushing it. And I posted it, and she was happy that I posted it and shared what happened to her. and she had no issues with that.
Yeah, it's definitely something people have varying opinions on. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good. I do not think a lot of people know about the whole the surveillance that goes on at these things. But yeah, I mean, if police are already having that footage, then it's just I think your platform just happens to be a little more visible to the public eye. So, but yeah,
Folks see
that's
that.
interesting.
Another thing I try to do is just make sure I'm respectful of people's spaces and ask permission. So
Mhm.
there was a vigil, and this is not in the book, and I'll tell you why. There was a vigil for Black trans women, especially those who have been victims of any kind of violence.
Mhm.
Before I went, I direct messaged the organizer and asked for permission. The response was, "You can come and you can live tweet, but you can't take professional photos." That was fine. I went there all the way in the back, did a couple wide shots, did the live tweets, no professional photos. So that's another thing I try to think about in advance, talking to people, getting those permissions, playing it by ear, seeing that, if I make eye contact with someone, there have been instances where people have turned away or put their hands up in front of their face just to signal they don't want photos.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering about. You've mentioned you've covered different types of events, a lot of protests, in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many other names. But you also mentioned that you went to that like the rally on around the Columbus statue. You went to one of the Trump rallies. So does your approach change at all depending, and how can you do you try to put your personal biases aside? What do you think about the notion of objectivity in that situation?
Um, to be completely honest with you, from the pro police rally and the Trump rally, they treated me with respect and kindness. There were no issues there. From the pro police rally that happened at the Columbus statue, I was there when a little bit before it started. And I was walking amongst all of the police and Trump supporters, and no one said anything to me. I actually had on a crew neck and a jacket. It was very hot outside, and folks were checking on me like, "Are you okay? I know you must be hot." Like they were checking on me. Same thing with the pro Trump rally. Now, that one I was a little, didn't know too much about that one,
Mm-hmm.
but I went over there and I was able to take photos without any conflicts in that aspect. But when it started to get a little more heated, I always back away. There was another Trump rally that did happen in Chicago. I was not at that one, but those people were just very, very, very disrespectful to other journalists, as I saw on social media. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I would have the exact same experience if I went there. But as far as personal biases, I mean, I'm fine with whatever opinion you have is your opinion. When I'm coming there just to talk about what you have to say, I'll cover the second aftermath of looting. And there was a guy who was just talking very down about the entire situation. And I gave him his time, filmed him on video, and I posted it. So there's never a moment where I'm thinking of, oh, I don't like you. I don't like exactly what you stand for. So I won't cover that. Same thing. A lot of people see me criticize the police department on Twitter. I covered a police community event. One of the police sergeants who does some great work in the community, Jermaine Harris, he does a lot of that work. So I said, hey, I want to come out and I want to cover this. So they did a peace circle with some area youth, and they also did a 5K. I went out there, I took photos of that, I posted about that, and they posted about it. So there's never that idea of, I won't cover you because I don't like you. At the end of the day, I know that I want to see unity in the city of Chicago. So I want to show everyone in their best light, because my goal here is not to create a more divisive city or country, because we're already divisive enough.
That's really well said.
Thanks.
Um, I'm you had the you threw out the first pitch at a White Sox game, I think I saw.
You see the
Um,
flag?
Sorry?
You see the flag right there? My
To the
White Sox
flag?
flag. That's my White Sox flag.
Oh, sick.
That's
Okay.
my,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, a little pennant in the back. Yeah.
that's my game day certificate. And then on my wall over here, I actually have the newspaper
Mhm.
clipping on my wall. Yeah.
That's
Never
pretty
been
sick.
like that. And I have the ball somewhere.
Yeah. So how did you get that opportunity?
So with that one, for Black History Month, they did this video competition where you take like a prominent African American baseball player and you do a little video on them, but it's like you take archival photos and videos and you do like a narration. So I did Bo Jackson. Um, I think I saw it like a flyer for it at school. I was like, I don't know, I won't win this. Everyone does this, and it's like whatever. So I literally waited all the way into the night of, threw something together, but I made sure it was quality work, and I submitted it 1 minute before the deadline, and I wound up winning. Bo Jackson also did play for the Sox, so I think that may have helped a little bit.
Yeah, the hometown.
Yeah, Harold Baines picked me, and the reward for that was I got to throw out the first pitch of the game. I got a White Sox jersey with my name on the back. If I would have known this question was coming, I would have had all of that prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can provide that after you want to put it in. But yeah, so that was a video competition. Did Bo Jackson, 2 minutes. I think that's still on my YouTube account, and it's a public video. Folks can go watch it. But the reward for that was the first pitch, which was very nerve-wracking. I'm telling you, when you get on that mound and you're looking down at that home plate, it looks like it's a mile away. But I made it across the base. I want to put that on the record.
Good.
Perfect pitch. And it made the sports cover for the Chicago Sun-Times.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I mean that feeling when you're, in front of all those people. I mean, you can't mess it up. Can't be thrown into one of those cringe compilations or anything. So
Yeah. I've seen some tough ones, and I watched all of those before I went out. So I don't think it really helped me out at all.
Yeah, I would imagine you probably got so psyched out after that.
Yeah.
So in terms of supporting the book, I know it's available on Amazon right now, and I know I had seen you replying to comments that that's the only place you can get it as of now. Can you talk a little bit about how the rollout is going to go and when it'll be? What's the process going like?
Yeah. So with this book, the very first thing I tried to do was, of course, go to a publishing company. Now, when I had this idea and I made a tweet, it was August 31st, and I said, someone told me I should put my favorite protest images in a book. Mm-hmm. Put it on all of my digital channels, and I had about 100 people tell me to do it. So that's why we're here. The route of publishing companies is not easy. Publishing a book is a for-profit industry. So if you don't already have a huge following or a bunch of money to put up, it's going to be very difficult for you to do this, because no matter what, there are steps you have to take for a book. You have to get that book designed. You have to get them printed. You have to get them sold. You have to get them shipped. So with Amazon, that was the only, and they're a monopoly. This is how monopoly works. They're the only available source for me to, number one, get this book out right now. I didn't want this book to come out next year. Mm-hmm. I needed it out right now. I talked to 12 different publishing companies. None of them worked. They either had too many products, they couldn't take it on now. Someone else needed to see a bunch of materials first. And the bottom line for all of them was I had to have the money to put up for all of these different services, and I just didn't have that. So I went the route of self-publishing through Amazon. And the reason why I chose them is because let me just walk you through a little bit about the behind the scenes of book.
Of course.
The very first thing you have to do is the manuscript. All of this stuff has to be prepared. Actually, here's the shrimp rally right there. Mm-hmm. All of this has to be prepared. I prepared this manuscript myself. I designed the cover myself. Do you want to guess what I used to make the book? Let's take a wild guess at what I used to make the book.
What you used?
Mm-hmm. What software?
Shutterfly.
I used Google Slides.
Wow.
This is a presentation. This is Google Slides. This is a presentation. It's a PowerPoint. You made one before. That's all this is. It's a presentation. It's
I
Google Slides.
absolutely never would have guessed.
Google Slides. Yeah, that's it. This is a font. It's called Anton. You can get this font. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
man. I mean, no, because I respect that because you wanted to get it out there. It's very topical right now.
So the manuscript is made. What's the next step? You have to go through and get a physical book. Here's the deal with that. You need a print company to print the books out for you. I really wanted this to be a hardcover book, glossy print pages. So having to settle for paperback I was not a fan of it. And the folks who were, knew about this process, they knew I was not excited about that, but that was the only option I had. So print company says, hey, talk to this publishing company who actually recommended some people for me. He said in the US, it will cost you $30 each book to print. You can go to China, get it cheaper. All right, let's see what China has. China said, you get 250 books, 20 bucks a pop. If you get 1,000, $7 a pop. So I have to buy 1,000 books, $7 a pop, and have all of that money to put up. The next thing is they're in China. I can't drive to China and get them, so I have to get them shipped. You can put them on a plane. That's going to cost you about $500 in shipping. Or you put it on those big freight ships, send it across the water. That's like $200-300. It's also going to take you about 5 to 8 weeks for the entire process, but now 5 to 10 because of COVID. Mm-hmm. If you don't have enough money to put up that 1,000, you have to do pre-orders. All right, guys, you have 2 weeks to pre-order this book. However many people order in these 2 weeks, that's how many books I'm buying. So I go ahead and I buy whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now from there, let's say I'm think of the price point of 1,000 people will buy this book, so I can set the price point that it'll cost me $7 to make. I make 100 sales.
Yeah.
Now it costs me $20 to make, so my price point is off. And President Obama, he just came out with his book for pre-order. What I noticed was the first price he set it for was $45. Right now, the book is at, like, I think maybe $30, a little under 30.
Oh, so
that price changed because the more orders, the cheaper it was to print.
Right.
All right, so you have the books, you did pre-order, or you brought it up front. Where are you going to store these books? If you have 1,000 books, you're putting that in your living room. You're putting that in your bedroom. If you don't have a warehouse or an office, you're keeping that. You buy a book from me. Now what? I have to go buy a box or a package. I have to take your book, put it in the box, put a shipping label on it, and send that to the post office. How do you buy the book? You need a website. All right, well, now I have to go to Wix.com and get a website. I don't want it to say VashonJordan.wix.com, so I have to pay for a domain. All right, you're on my website. Now, how do I get your money? I want to say, Venmo me? No, Venmo is, you need all of that information. So I say, okay, I need Squarespace. Squarespace wants a cut of that money. So now I have Wix. Now I have Squarespace. You buy the book. I ship it out. You want a tracking number, don't you? So I have to sit there and physically go through all those emails and a tracking number. You get your book, you want to return it. I have to have a return policy set in stone. All of that has to be taken care of. Now, let me give you this scenario. Let's say I brought 1,000 books, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say I sell 1,001. Do you think that print company's going to let me print one book? No. They're going to say, if you want this price point, you have to buy 1,000 books again. So now I just spent on this book. I'm a full-time college student, so one of the biggest points about that is I have to be able to be hands-free, focus on school, focus on everything else, and get this done. So with Amazon, they literally took care of everything. Like, I do nothing but give you the link, and that's it. Amazon physically prints the book. in the back of everyone's book, they're going to have a little stamp that says "Made in the USA, Moni, Illinois," right outside of Chicago, and it tells you the date your book was printed. Every book is printed made to order. Amazon packs it, Amazon ships it, Amazon deals with all the customer service, all the returns. I do nothing but send out the link and collect the royalty.
So, I can
So
see that being pretty hard to pass up.
yeah, and then the other thing about it is there's a cut and there's a percentage. So one thing about me is I'm big on transparency. Amazon takes 40% of whatever I charge for the book, and then I pay the price to get each book printed. Whatever's left is their royalty. So the book is being sold for $25. That's not profit.
Yeah.
I don't even get half of that, but at the same time, it's like what Amazon is doing, that 40% covers all of the other expenses that I would have had to pay. And the labor, if I can't physically do that myself, I have to hire someone. Would you do this job for me for free? Probably not. You're going to want a check too. So there's so many people, and it's like, if you don't have a book that's going to sell millions of copies, you either don't make a book or you have to go the route that I went.
Yeah. That was very informative. Thank you.
Complicated.
No, a lot. Yeah. It's not easy to put a book out there, especially with the quick turnaround. I had a question about looking toward the future. Right now you're freelancing. I know you were on with the Chicago Reporter. You did a Juneteenth story with them, but do you have anything down the pipe in terms of like outlets you would want to work for? Are you getting calls? How's that going?
Yeah, so I'm in college for television production. My actual career interest is to work in the field of live television production, talk shows, daily news, that kind of thing is what interests me the most. With photography, it was a hobby, and I joke with folks that I'm in too deep at this point. Like, yeah, I'm here now. So, I'm kind of just taking that there. I want to continue doing photography. Freelancing is very tough, which is why I'm always seeking and pursuing a staff photographer position. And then, when the time comes and I'm a little tired of doing this photography work, I'll go find me a TV studio, get a regular scheduled job, and go from there. But that's the plan. As you can see, plans don't always, this book was not in the plan, so I'm really just at this point taking it day by day.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think that's a really well-rounded thing. I just really hope that people are able to make use out of this book, and they're able to have this as something they can look back on. People compare this a lot to 1968. That was 52 years ago. I don't know anything about 1968 except for what I can Google and see some news article about. But those first person accounts, it's like, where are they? Right. And I wanted, when people talk about 2020, they can say, oh, here's Vashon's book with photos, so we can have that dialogue and discussion about 2020, because this is going to reach folks who would have never heard about me on social media. So I wanted it there for that purpose and that aspect. But the bottom line is, those moments were too precious to just be a social media post on someone else's platform. My account can get deleted today.
Yep. The
internet could go dark today. Everything online that we're so used to can crumble today. What we'll have left is a physical book. You take care of that book, nothing will ever happen to it. And it'll be here for ages for folks to see. And that's why I really, really needed this to be in a tangible form. I've tried to make it as affordable as I can while covering all of the necessary costs. So my biggest thing is I want people to have this, people to use this. If you weren't there, these photos will make you feel like you're right in that action.
Vashon, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Appreciate the all of the description, and best of luck with all of the book sales, with your last year of college. And I feel like I'll probably be seeing you around at an action sometime, so I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, definitely. I have to see you out there, man. Masked up.
Yes, yes, for sure. Nice
Yeah.
talking to you.
All right. Thanks, man.